Good morning, everyone. We are delighted over here, the entire NDTV team, to be in Nepal, in Kathmandu today. And we couldn't be more happy than to have a very special guest with us. Shishir Khanal is the foreign minister of a very young country. He comes in at a time when Nepal sees so many opportunities within the country, outside the country. And at NDTV and at NDTV World and with Anviksha, our goal is to take forward the equation, the relationship, reflect on what a young Nepal seeks, and to go beyond boring rhetoric about the relationship between India and Nepal, but to look at the present, look at the future, look at each other's countries through a new lens. This is a conversation on Nepal's foreign policy in a rapidly changing world. But sir, and this is my first question, we came over here, I was actually on the flight, and we were about to take off when news actually came in of this horrific tragedy that took place. I spent more than a month over here in 2015 when the people of Nepal lost so much. 24 hours later, today, could you share some detail about the extent of the tragedy? Are you able to gauge how big it is at this stage?
Thank you. At the outset, let me express my gratitude to NDTV World for hosting the first of its kind dialogue in Kathmandu. And also, I wanted to welcome our friends who have traveled from India to Nepal to participate in this dialogue. As we were discussing about this dialogue, I was hoping that we would be in a much different context and circumstances, but unfortunately, just 24 hours ago, the devastating flash flood we experienced. I sit here with a lot of heavy heart, a lot of pain and sorrow and in empathy with thousands of Nepali families who we're still not unclear whether the status of the devastation. I mean, we've seen in the videos that has been circulating on the media and social media. What we know is towns after towns have been completely wiped out in a span of a couple hours. Thousands of people are still reported out of contact or missing. As of this morning, 160 people had lost life. That is official data. But we fear more numbers will flow in this afternoon. We know that thousands of families have lost their homes. There's been huge the bridges, the rivers have been swept away. Many of the communities are out of access at this stage. So we're still trying to grasp with the scale and depth of disaster, but what I can say is this is one of the largest and natural disasters we have experienced in most recent memory. And as a government of Nepal, as soon as the news came, our National Disaster Council met, our cabinet met, and made urgent mobilization. But we are still trying to understand the scale of this disaster at this point.
Many foreign nationals, including Indians, are feared missing in this tragedy. Can you give us a sense of how you're cooperating with other countries to get rescue and relief to those who need it the most? And what do you want to tell those watching in India and elsewhere who are very concerned about the status of their loved ones?
Many Indian nationals as well as other nationals, those particularly who were either going to or were returning from Mansarovar Kailash Yatra, they would have passed through that region or were waiting to clear the border area when this flood came yesterday. At this point, estimated about 500 foreign nationals are out of contact. Closer to 300 among them are closer to 300 Indian nationals. Because many of these areas have been out of contact, we do not know the current status. We know that many are in that area alive, but we have not been able to fully establish a contact yet. We absolutely are coordinating with the Indian Embassy here, as well as our other national embassies in Kathmandu. I have also personally been in contact with governments across the world. We've both called, sent messages expressing their solidarity with Nepal, as well as concerned about the safety of their citizens. As we establish contact today, we should be able to share more details. But what I've communicated and would like to communicate this through this forum as well is that as much as we deal with recovery, rescue of our Nepali citizen, government of Nepal is equally committed to safety and security of our friends in India as well as from around the world.
I also think it's important, and we were discussing this with some friends of yours, some colleagues of yours, that Nepal will overcome this. It may take time. Nepal will overcome this. Nepal is open to the world, to tourists. And I think that's a message that perhaps you'd like to reflect on as well.
Absolutely, at this point, as we grieve, and also as a government of Nepal, as we try to, with any disaster, there are several stages. Right now, a lot of our focus is in rescue and immediate relief. But at the same time, this particular disaster has struck in one particular area of Nepal, and many friends from around the globe, including Nepali diaspora, but other nationals and governments are calling us, asking how they can support. And one of the ways to support, obviously, sort of the immediate relief support, the way Government of India already sent relief. Last night, we, as a government, we have expressed our deepest gratitude to such relief. So those kind of relief and longer-term reconstruction support will be required. But at the same time, one of the best ways to support countries like Nepal in a moment of crisis, beyond being generous, is also being continuously engaged with us, whether through tourism or other areas. Because at the end of the day, the most resilient Nepal that we take pride in, every time there's been a disaster, we've come back. As recently as 2015 earthquake. So one of the ways a global community can support, and what I wanted to also share with the friends watching in India and around the world, is that many of our communities are not impacted. Cities like Pokhara are not impacted. Your visit to this location would not only support local families, local economy, it will also strengthen and build a resilient economy for Nepal. And Kathmandu, Pokhara, Chitwan, Lumbini, and other, most of our communities where most of our tourists go, or the Annapurna Circuit Road, or the Mount Everest region, all of these areas are unimpacted. And one way you can support also is to spend your tourism dollar in Nepal over the next few months.
Shishiji, you've repeatedly spoken about Himalayan climate vulnerability. At the Indian Ocean Conference in April this year, you spoke about melting Himalayan glaciers and downstream impacts, and warned about the potential dangers of glacial lake outbursts. How do you think we need to prepare for the reality of climate change and the reality that these disasters are more likely to happen frequently than in the past, and therefore countries like India, Nepal, China, Bhutan need to come together in some form? And that at some level speaks to the idea of Anviksha, cooperation, countries working together for advanced warning systems to be able to ensure that people are evacuated in case a situation of this nature unfolds.
Thank you, Ralph, for this question, and this is very important at this particular moment. In Nepal and India, we've always talked about our relationship in the terms of roti beti, Sita, Ram. So our civilizational heritage has been always highlighted. Our relationship of history and and the religion and the culture has always played number one sort of a narrative role. But the moment in this context is, I think we have to also reframe our relationship in an ecological relationship as well. You know, what melts, what I said in Mauritius in Indian Ocean Conference was also, you know, what melts in the Himalayas rises in the sea. And exactly what we saw yesterday, right live in front of our eyes. Sort of flash flood occurred somewhere in the region of Nepal-China border, but as it actually went downstream, it impacted the community in Nepal. And fortunately, yesterday did not have any, based on what I know so far, not much of a physical damage on the Indian side, but these things are occurring. There was a, 2023, there was a Tista area that was impacted in India. Last year, in the exact same region, we had a much smaller scale flash flood. This year, the scale has been significantly higher. So China, Nepal, India, Bhutan, we are connected by ecology, and our shared survival and future depends on protecting this Himalayan ecology. And we have to come together. I mean, there could be political rivalry, competition, there could be different political ideology between us, but at the end of the day, it impacts. I mean, Himalayan region is one of the most vulnerable areas in terms of climate change. Temperature rises are one of the highest in the world. And as the ice melts, as these glaciers flood continuously happen, it not only sort of converts into disaster like this, it will eventually have impact on fresh water accessibility of our community to about 2 billion people in our region. Yes. So how are we coming together to this potential, the civilizational linkage we talk about? Civilizational threat is what because of ecology, we need to also grapple and come together to solve this problem.